planning to visit a coffee farm once this pandemic situation is over, or if you're a coffee professional and have it on your list to do an origin trip at any point in the future and you're considering Colombia as one of your potential destinations, then this video is for you. My name is Yolima and I am a coffee producer and importer from Colombia, and in this video I am going to share with you 10 things that I think you will want to keep in mind when visiting coffee farms in Colombia. The first thing that you want to keep in mind is do not slam the doors of the cars. And I know this might sound a little bit silly or funny, but when you get to Colombia it is very important that you are gentle when closing the doors of the cars. Car drivers in Colombia get very offended when people close the doors of the cars very hard, and I have noticed that it is very common once you go from the United States to Colombia to do that unconsciously. I don't think it is such a big of a deal here in the United States. I have actually never seen anyone complain about how you close the doors of the cars, although it might happen, I'm not sure. Let me know if you have any information on this. But in Colombia, what I do know is that taxi drivers and even particular drivers will get very offended if the passengers close the doors of the cars very hard, because they consider that this is gonna damage the cars, and they find it very irrespectful from the passenger to close the door of their cars that hard. Now this is very hard to remember, so please keep it in mind and just try and close the doors of the cars gently so that you don't have any issues with the driver of the car or you avoid any uncomfortable situations. You will thank me for this, believe me. Number 2, do not underestimate distances. In Colombia, you might find coffee farms or towns or cities that seem close to other cities or towns in distance, but when you travel from one to the other one, you will realize that it really takes a long time to get around, especially because our roads are not designed for high speeds. So if you want to visit farms that are maybe in a coffee region and then go visit some farms in a different coffee region of Colombia, you might want to consider finding some local flights that might be cheap instead of taking the bus to go from one place to the other, because it can take a long time. To give you an example, if you wanted to go from Medellin to Bogota by plane, it will take about 25 minutes to get from one city to the other one. But if you were going to take a bus, it can take up to 12 hours or even more to get from one city to the other one. So as you can see, even though the distances might not seem very long, it can be very hard and time consuming to get from one place to the other one. And you can really find pretty good deals inside the country for local flights that you might want to take advantage of instead of wasting time traveling by bus. And this brings me to number 3, which is do not expect the roads to be very good, especially if you're going to visit coffee farms. Just be aware that the roads are not gonna be very good and might feel a little unsafe, so just try and keep calm and enjoy the ride. Just think that all of the people that live up that mountain are going up and down that road all the time and they are just fine, so there is no reason for you to be too worried about it, especially if you're going with someone that knows the road and that has been to the farms before. Most of the coffee farms are gonna be located up in top of mountains, and the roads are gonna be pretty steep, and there is most of times going to be a cliff in one side of the road. So just know that this is normal and this is how the roads are designed there, and there is no reason for you to be worried about it. Just enjoy the ride and the views. Number 4 has to do with politeness. When visiting different coffee farms in the same village, you will probably be offered juice in most of those coffee farms, if not all of them. The thing is that most of times they are not gonna ask you if you want juice. They are rather going to bring the juice to you already made, and at that point it is not polite to reject it. So if you want to be polite, you should drink the juice. Now you can always reject it, just know that it is not polite, and the person that took the time to make the juice for you might feel offended because of that. I know that here in the US it's not normal that they will bring you something already made without asking you if you want it first, but it's a cultural thing in Colombia that you don't ask your guests, especially if you're from the country like me, you don't ask your guests if they want something, you just simply bring it to them. And I have learned over time by being here then and that is not really polite to push things on people, but well, I think that's how we are in Colombia. That's our culture. Actually, when growing up, if we had any visitors, I will ask my mom if I should offer them some juice, and she will tell me that that is not a question that you ask people. You just bring them the juice. You don't ask them if they want it. So I just want you to know that it is a cultural thing. It is not our intention to be pushy or to force you to eat or drink something. It is a cultural difference, and it is something that you might encounter when you go visiting farms. So please don't take it as an offense. We are just trying to be nice. We just want to be kind to our guests. Number 5 is be prepared to eat a lot of carbs. We eat a lot of carbs in Colombia, especially in the country. A lot of yuca, potato, plantain, rice, beans. And although we eat vegetables, vegetables are not the main ingredient in our dishes. We eat a lot of soups and meals that are very filling and that will give you a lot of strength. So if you have any food restrictions or allergies, I will advise you to let your host know that you have those restrictions so that they can be prepared to have meals and food that is appropriate for you. Because normally what is available in the country is all of these types of food that I already mentioned that are really high on carbs, and also we eat a lot of meat as well. Number 6, if you visit a coffee farm and you want to bring a gift, or if you want to leave a monetary tip as a thank you to the family that hosted you, please know that they won't feel offended because of that. They will be really grateful, but don't ask them if they want it, because they will most likely tell you no, just because they don't feel comfortable with it. And as I told you before, in the country it is not normal to ask or being asked for things, or if you want something, you just simply give it to them. So if that is something that you want to do and you don't know whether it is polite or not, just know it is fine, it is polite, they will be really grateful, but please do not ask them, because that will make them feel uncomfortable, and I don't think that is something that you want. Number 7, if you're visiting different coffee farms, even if it is in the same country, especially in Colombia, even if it is in the same region, you may experience a lot of changes in weather. So the coffee farms that are at higher elevations will have a cooler weather and maybe more mosquitoes, and you will want to have long sleeve, repellent for the mosquitoes as well. But if the next day you're visiting a coffee farm that is maybe 500 meters below that farm, you will experience more heat and it won't be as comfortable if you have long sleeves. So you might want to also bring some short sleeves, and just make sure to bring a variety of clothing between long and short sleeves, and also bring some hats and sunscreen, and mosquito repellent is very important, as well as boots, because there will be mud and you don't want to ruin your nice shoes when you're walking up and down the mountain. Number 8, you can use your credit card in most places when you are in the cities. However, I do recommend that you bring some cash as well, because in the smaller towns or villages, there will be no option for credit card in many places, and you might need to pay with cash. So I recommend you have some cash in hand as well. And if you are planning your trip in advance, like if you're planning your trip for next year, for example, at this point in time, then this will be a really good time to buy pesos if you have the ability to buy pesos, because you can get a lot of pesos for your dollar. The exchange rate goes up and down, and sometimes you will get a good rate and sometimes you won't. And if you wait until the moment of your trip, you might not get the best possible rate. So if you monitor the rate a few months before your trip, you might be able to buy some money in advance and take advantage of better rates. That said, you are gonna be able to pay with your credit card for most of the stuff in the cities, so you don't need a whole bunch of cash if you don't want to carry it. Number 9, be cautious with your stuff when you're in the city. Colombia has become a much safer country than it used to be many years ago, but not because it is a safer country, I will tell you that you don't have to be careful or you don't have to watch out for your stuff. In Colombia, we have a phrase that goes, no dar papaya, which translates to don't give papaya. It means do not give the thieves opportunity to rob you. So you don't want to be walking in the city with your phone in your hand, just looking at your maps or taking pictures without being conscious of the environment, because someone can grab your phone. I'm not telling you that's never gonna happen. So you want to avoid situations like that. Also, if you have cash, maybe try and spread it in different packets. That way you don't have to take out a bunch of cash every time you need to pay for something, and that way you don't attract any attention from other people. And also, if you don't need it, just don't bring your jewelry or expensive watches or your expensive diamond ring, because it is not necessary and it will just call too much attention, especially if you want to visit many places in a city. You don't want to call too much attention. So I would recommend try and avoid things like these. I'm not saying to be paranoid or anything like that, but I think everywhere you go, it is important that you're cautious and that you find out what areas are better than others. Maybe ask the people that you're traveling with which places are safe to go by yourself or which places are safe to do certain things. That way you enjoy your trip and have a very nice experience. And finally, I will recommend that you do not miss the opportunity to try very tasty foods that we have in Colombia, like arepas, empanadas, patacón, bandeja paisa, sancocho, ajiaco, and some really tasty fruits like guanábana, lulo, tomate de árbol, zapote. These are really tasty fruits that are very hard to find here. Actually, most of them I have never been able to find. So I would recommend you take the opportunity to try them there, because I am sure that you will love them. And I believe that's it. Those were my 10 main tips that I would think that you need to keep in mind when you go to Colombia and if you want to go visit coffee farms. I hope they were helpful. Please let me know if you have visited any farms in the past, or if you have any experiences with visiting Colombia and coffee farms that you might want to share, or any advice that you want to add on to these 10 tips. I would love to hear it. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe and hit the notification bell to hear about new videos. I really appreciate you and thank you for watching this video, and I will see you next time. Adios!